Made me an entrepreneur, teaching me day after day after day till it all was a blur. Now he on tour, he can drop in your city tonight. Never the Zen coming in for the fight, making that powerful statement, saying that you meant for greatness. Better be ready for absolute motivation.
Come on now, this is what it's about. To be able to wake in the morning and have some sense of purpose, a calling on your life. You've been sitting around listening to tapes and all, but now we went live so that you can interact, you can talk to us. I want to hear about your stories. I want to hear about your glory, the thing that you're struggling with and how you overcame it. This isn't about the individuals that are you hear pre-recorded about go through something, become something. Now I'm talking about taking the time to talk to you about how you could win. The most important thing that we could ever do is offer you a platform where it's interactive. What we want to do is provide you with a place where you have a tribe that can help you go further. The hardest thing to do in life is to go through life alone trying to become more. But if you can find people who are like-minded, that's when you can win. That's why we offer you the opportunity to join the free community, school.com/peak. You do that, you become that. I just want to help you overcome this, whatever you're dealing with, and become more. Make sure that you tune in every time we go live. Share it with someone. Tell them, listen, James Dixon is on. Because today I'm doing something special. I'm going to begin introducing you to someone that I've known many years now. In fact, I thought of him before he was even born. He's my son. And today he's going to be talking to you for just a moment. Let me proudly introduce.
My computer froze.
No problem. If I seem frozen, perhaps you can still hear me, guys. But I'm going to take a moment here with you and just continue to talk. I've got my son coming on today. He's going to be connected with you guys. And I'm going to be introducing you to some amazing people. I've got Sir James Dentley coming on today. Let's see here. Can they still hear me? Guys, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm going to just take a moment. Every once in a while, crazy things happen when you're going live, but that's the great thing about life. If you can't make adjustments when life hits you, you're missing out on some of the greatest lessons you'll ever learn. Trials come, tribulations come, but so does great opportunities to become more. This morning, I got up and I thought about the fact that I said, I wanted to introduce the world to people that can change the world. It's not just about listening to people who have been out on the circuit saying the same things. But what about the authors that write stuff that really changed your perspective? Some of you, your lives have all changed. So there it is. All right. Thank you. Listen, somebody sent me a text and I can still hear you, even if you can't see me right now. We're working on that. So I'm just going to talk, let you hear it. It may look like I'm winning the longest stare competition of all time to you, but promise you, I am here, and I just want to go ahead and break into a couple things. Here's the thing I'm going to tell you. My greatest fear in life was never that I might stand on stage and be embarrassed. Some people think that standing on stage speaking to the world is scary, but it's not. For me, it's as comfortable as it is breathing because I know that I was born to share a word. But the word that I share is not just from my own head, it's from the heart. It's whatever God put in my heart so that I can speak to your heart. Each and every one of you have a skill and a talent, ability as well. Whether you can, whether it's whether people see you or not, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, whatever your talent, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whatever your skill set is, you were born to do that thing. And if you do that thing the way God has called you to, I promise you, He will elevate you and the world will see you in a light you never imagined. As you guys can hear me, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that in the comment section I can see that. Sister Donaldson, I see you there. I see the comments that you make. Marcia has written her first book, and that book is really about her story, one of overcoming. I encourage you all. It's called Born to Die. It is the fact that we are all born with a death sentence from the moment you take that first breath. But it is
studio.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Come in?
Yeah, come on in, sir. All right.
Come in a minute. Okay.
Looks like we're live again.
All right, guys. There we go. If life hasn't taught you anything, you better be prepared to go through something to deal with it. We were live, got kicked off, but now we're back. I think that's almost a lesson about life is, right? You can be living your life, trials come, boom, what do you do? Bad things will come. You got to be able to flow with it. Good things come, flow with it. Because the truth is, bad things will pass. Good things will pass. It's the balance of how you handle those things that make you who you are. That's why this morning I came up with the whole concept. It was like, it's time to introduce you to my son. James Jr. has been watching me do all these things. And there's a difference between people who talk the walk and people who walk the walk. I've endeavored in my life to constantly keep walking this walk. Authentically show up as James Dixon so I don't have to worry about people saying he was different with me than he was when I saw him on stage. I am the very same person day in and day out. I have a difficulty sleeping because I have dreams and visions of ideas of what you can be as you're watching me. I think about people, I think about their destiny, about helping them. It's about not just climbing myself, but reaching back, grabbing people and putting them on platforms so that their voices will echo. We will all go through trials, but what you do in the trial reveals what you're really about. Most people, when they are put in a bad situation, will immediately throw up their hands and give up. But you're not most people. You're one of the people that are called to speak to the most of people, the best that they can be, because the way you show up authentically in your messaging. If you want to be a speaker, join our school community, because I want you to learn how to be great, how to speak great, how to impact lives in a great fashion. I'm asking you, make sure that you join the community. They say that you're the sum of the people you hang out with. And if it's not adding up with the people that are in your life, it's time to make them count. Circle yourself around people that circle around you when you need them, not after you've already made it. There's a philosophy saying no new friends, talking about I'm not going to bring in people once I arrive. No, man, I found that some of the best people closest to you will be people who come in brand new, People at different levels who have nothing that they want from you, but they just want to add to you. There are people like that. But you got to be able to screen and know the difference between those who want to hang on and get a part of your spotlight and those who already have a light and want to point to your spot. It's a big difference. So today, I'm going to introduce you to my son. James, are you here? Come on board, man.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, you have to speak up, man, so the world can hear you.
All
So,
right.
ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this is my son. We share the same name, but we have a different destiny. My goal in life is to lay down the tracks so that he can run over those and take them further. Each and every one of us as parents can understand the idea that somehow we have to, whatever that we have, you should always endeavor that your children become more so that you can extend more. My bloodline, it gets impacted, it goes further when he wins. James, thank you for coming on this morning.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself to the world. What does James Dixon Jr. do?
Well, I'm an aspiring model and actor. I want to do that with my future. I've done theater and acting classes for forever, since high school and before that. I've done plenty of things. I've volunteered. I just like helping people out, meeting new people, and finding new experiences.
Well, I tell you what, at 18, man, I'm so proud of who you are becoming. Let me ask you something. And on this journey of who you're becoming, what have you been learning as you've been meeting different people? What are some highlights, some things in this journey, your personal journey in excellence? What are you learning? What have you been picking up on?
There's no clear-cut way to success. Everyone has their own way of doing things. And the main thing is to find your way into expressing yourself and to uplift others as well.
Man, now see that, now that's wisdom at 18, isn't it? There is no one path. Everyone's pathway is about, it may be crooked, it may be redirected, there are U-turns you have to make, but I promise you, if you just don't quit, you can get there. But when I say don't quit, I want to make sure I qualify that. James said, excuse me.
Bless you.
Well, I think you gave me a cold or something. No, I'm messing with you. Son, let me ask you something. When it comes to quitting, do you think it's ever okay to quit?
I think it's okay to stop and reevaluate yourself. But if it's something you really want to do, like if it's a dream you're trying to pursue, I don't think you should ever quit.
Watch this. What I love is that that's a great setup question I had for him because I want to be able to talk to all of you about that same thing. When you were sleeping last night, you woke up, so you quit sleeping, right? This is something that we were talking about with Jason Van Camp from last week. Everyone has to have something you quit, something you throw in the towel on. Example, when you finish eating, you quit eating, right? There are some things that no longer serve you that you can always quit, or after they come to a conclusion or completion. Quitting isn't the issue. It's quitting the things that no longer serve you. You have to keep doing things that will elevate you. James, as you're looking up at us and the camera as we see you, like,
I'm writing
what
my-
is, yeah. Wait a minute, are you taking notes? That's
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, look, where'd you get these habits from? What I see you writing down. Why are you writing things down? Why do you journal?
Because I'm planning on writing my own book about my experiences and other people's paths to success.
Now wait a minute. At 18, man, to see you doing that, how many of you guys are watching wish your children would do the same thing? That your kids would get on and take the time to start taking notes when you're talking. Well, I'm going to have you take note of a whole different person who's going to join us. Probably the first time anywhere that everyone that came on board was named James. I'm introducing the world to someone that many of you have always known. You stream all over the world, people watch us, and you learn some things along the way. That there are people that are game changers. Baron James Denley has not only been an entrepreneur, but he's been a person who has stood behind entrepreneurs and wants them to succeed. He's a speech coach. He's embedded into the fabric of impacting lives like it's what he was born for. He's cut from that cloth. Without further ado, let me introduce to the world to Dr. Baron James Dentley. Doctor, are you there?
I am here and excited. Hello, James. Hello, James.
Hello, hello.
Man, so this is JD3 right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
Uh, Doctor Denley, if you would take a moment and talk about what you're doing right now. I know you're constantly doing a million things, but right now you're building JD3 TV. You're building people. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, let me say I'm excited about being here with you and with the legacy. I've heard so many great things about James. You're coming, man. I'm coming. I'm watching you guys on social media, and it's always good when you can see those who come behind you that are following not only in the footsteps but are paving a new way. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on the big screen, young man, and
Thank
putting
you.
other people before that big screen as well, because that's what your daddy does. Well, yes, I am the founder of JD3 TV Media Company, and we launched this back in 2020 during COVID, because as someone who's been speaking and training speakers now for almost 30 years, during COVID there was no place for them to speak. And I noticed that there was a big gap in everyone who was operating on a linear aspect. So, in my imagination, I always believe that 80% of your life is driven by your subconscious, 15% by your conscious mind, 15% is 5% is imagination. So, my imagination takes over. I saw Peter Pan when I was 5 years old, and I never stopped. So, I came up with JD3 TV to create an edutainment platform where I can help not only give speakers a place where they can build out a platform, but also authors and also thought leaders and social media, nonprofit social impact, people that are just out there that want to get their message out to the world and want to learn how to raise more capital. So that's the reason I launched it. And with the edutainment, James, it really starts with teaching us how to become a little bit better. You know, you as being part of the incredible royal house as well, our focus is to get good men and women and help them become better, to walk in great and leave out even greater. So with JD3 TV, it allows an individual to not only be able to stream their content, but also have a dashboard, have the data to teach them how to make capital, create a community, and to really expand their horizons, to be able to have a piece of the American dream, to kind of level out this capitalism society that we live in, where most people don't get a shot to come to the party. We want everyone to come to the dance with JD3 TV and give them a platform. We back it up with live events as well. And we take people that are normally looking at the screen and bring them inside to the live events, where even those individuals that are watching television, you have a story and the world's waiting to hear that story. Your story will bless someone else. And we want to be the ones that take it out there to the world.
Man, I love that because I've seen you do that. One of the things that it is I don't know, could you talk a little bit about what it's meant to you to watch other people's dreams come true? I mean, to
Oh
have
my
the
goodness.
maturity, because I think that's where most people struggle.
Yeah.
How can I stand in the sun and not get jealous about what other people are doing? How did
Oh,
you
wow.
develop that mindset, and why is it so important for us to adapt
Yeah.
that mindset about seeing others win?
You know what, Sir Dixon? There's more than enough for everyone to have more than enough. There's an abundance. And when you have an abundance mindset, you're able to see things that are right in front of you that you cannot see right now. You know, in my career, they tagged me of helping 90 individuals earn between $1 and $20 million. But the reality of it is that they did the work. I did not do the work for them. I simply taught what I was taught. I didn't create it. There are fundamental things that you can do that will ensure your success if you're willing to do the work for it. There's a foundational things, just like baking a cake. And if you don't know how to bake a cake, it doesn't matter what kitchen you're in. You can know how to cook that cake. You know, that's the first thing. I enjoy it because in my career, I've never been able to make money without helping other people. I was able to retire from my working for a living back in January 13th of 1995, a long time, you know. So in doing so, I've always been curious about the power of the human experience, the power of the human spirit. what you really can do. And everyone, every person under the sound of my voice, you have something that you can bring to the market. And we want to help you discover it. So, for an example, if someone's sitting in a room looking at a computer or a phone right now, around the room you're in, there are things that you can see, but once upon a time never existed. Yet everything needed to create it was already there. How come you couldn't
Mm,
see it? So I like to take people on the path, not only teaching them how to use their voice like a soundtrack of a movie, but then also to see and think a little bit differently so you can be fully self-expressed, so you can transfer energy of who you really are. Because the greatest human need, they say, is significance. I'm here to tell you, I remember I didn't know if I counted or not, but I found out that I did, that there was something I can do. And I know that every life counts, every life makes a difference. Yeah. And
yeah.
that's what I just love to do it. I just get tickled pink by helping people to fly.
Uh, James Jr., what do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you have any questions?
I think it's great, especially when you said that to have an abundance mindset, that you'll be able to see things that you couldn't have seen before.
Hmm.
And I thought it was great how you said that people walk in great and they walk out greater, meaning they're not less than or anything in the beginning than they
Hmm.
are in their future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Man,
Yeah.
imagine at 18, man, having access to all of this, where his future can go. It's all about what you're talking about. There's an abundance out there for everyone. The same thing as Dr. Denley, I'm sure you have a son who's a guru at chess. I mean, he's going to be a grandmaster one day. We
Hmm.
talk about the things that you are imparting into the future, because that's really what you're here for, right? To
Yeah.
make sure that the future is set up, your legacy is established in others, and pour all that you have into them so that they can be more.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really about making the right investments. Uh, Les Brown used to say, if you treat a child as they are, they may remain the same. But if you treat them as they could be, they can grow into what they should be. Our youth is right around 60% of the population, but 100% of the future. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really about making the right investments. And as you do that, remember our children see everything, the good, the bad, and the not so good, and the really, really bad. They see it all. And whatever you ingest becomes a part of you. And they're either going to gravitate towards it on a subconscious level, or they're going to repel against it on a sub or conscious level, because those decisions can be made. But that's what I mean with everything. Everything counts. And when we make mistakes as adults and in human beings in life, we make those mistakes, but we can own them. That we can turn that ship around, because there's so many great lessons. And you're never alone. Everybody feels like it's just them. They messed up, and they're the only person that ever messed up. Everybody messes it up. That's all part
Mm-hmm.
of life, to here to learn, to grow, and to navigate through it. But that builds that incredible muscle, like it's like the caterpillar inside of the cocoon, all by itself. Strutting now, before the cocoon is crawling around, the birds are eating it, the kids are rolling their bikes over it. Not very attractive, and you just slow. All you never seen two caterpillars hanging out together. They don't even have parties, but they get in that cocoon and they come to themselves, like Job would say. And then
Yeah.
when they sprout out, they have no idea what it is to be a butterfly, no concept. But then they discover something because they were able to take it inside. Everything in life starts from the inside out, thought, thing, mental, physical, inner, outer. And you come out and you sprout your wings. So I've heard crazy, and you as well, James. We've all heard stories of people that people will count out, that they've done something horrific in life, and they turn their life now around, and now they're out there inspiring children, and it gives them the biggest joy in their heart, the biggest reward. It's what they can give somebody else. Pretty
Man,
cool.
listen, I love that. One of the things that people will say, well, is there fear when we give our kids too much, too fast, right? So the
Hmm.
idea is that you should hold back. But
Yeah.
I've learned that I was watching these sea turtle documentary. One of my favorite things is just
Mhm.
look up animals, right? And watch the animal kingdom and draw comparisons, illustrations from them. And when sea turtles are born, they all start making their way to the water. And they had all these people who were watching who saw some of them were struggling. And they ran out and they started pushing them all into the sea. And they told them the ones that you push into the sea will die. Because the truth is, the moment they're born and they start fighting against the sand to get there, they're developing the muscle and the swim technique necessary in order to survive when they get in the ocean.
Yeah.
It's important to allow people to go through the process of
Yeah.
challenges because it turns you into a challenger, and then one day you'll become a champion. The
Hmm.
struggle is a part of it. The
Yeah.
idea that life would somehow be easy, that you'll never have problems, never have bad days, is unrealistic. I make sure that I share as you share with our children. My son, I say, challenges come, but it's to make you better, it's to make you stronger. If
Yeah.
you find yourself tested, you end up with a testimony. If you
That's right.
find yourself going through a trial, God's on your side, not guilty comes up. Bad things will happen, but it will reveal what's good in people.
Amen. Amen. I always say when things go wrong, don't go wrong with it. When I was a kid,
Mm.
James, I don't know if James is a right way to say that, right? When I was a kid, I had a best friend. His name was James as well, James Rivers. Um, and we would fight all the time. We were very competitive in every sport. And one day, we're fighting. We start wrestling. He's on top of me. He's swinging away. And I saw my mother's legs on the top of the steps, knowing she's going to break the fight up. So I took a few blows. I put my hand down, took a few pity blows so she could break it up. And she never moved. She never
Mm.
was. So I put my dukes back up and I had to get out the situation. She told me when I was 9 years old, all the way through being 55, that it hurt her to see me getting whooped like that, but I had to learn how to fight. She had to let me learn
Wow.
how to fight. I learned so much. She raised four kids by herself, three sisters and myself, and very, very wise. They called her Ruth from the Bible. Very wise, very knowledgeable. But and my dear friend and my mother, I've come from her. And the lessons that people teach you, they don't really ever go away, because when things go wrong, you never hit rock bottom. You only hit rock foundation.
Oof.
That's the key.
Hey, that's some word there. James, look, I see James Jr. writing that down, man. I mean,
Hmm.
that's when you know you hit something. It is important. There are lessons learned, and the idea of this is also um, learning to fight, learning to develop, growing into something. Is also understanding that the reason why I have something is because someone fought for us.
Mhm.
Every one of us is our concoction of support, love, trials, all of those things that come in from other people. For you, your mom, and your relationship with her. If you would, for a minute, Dr. Denley, talk about the value or the importance of those relationships, like your mom and
Yeah.
your family, just those things that propelled you, that got you to where you are. I want my
Uh,
son to learn not just from the aspects of our successes, but the
mhm.
pathway that what did it cost to become barren today?
Yeah. Well, first of all, and I'll speak to James, and James, you will represent humanity. How about that? James, first of all, you are what you are conscious of being. You know, I write books about energy and frequency, and even the Bible says, "As a man or woman thinketh in their heart, so is he or she." There's energy there. Our paradigm is the way we see the world and our place in it. But when you conceive, you're a glob of liquid, 90% liquid. When you're
Mm.
first conceived, there's no bones, no eyeballs, no ears, no feet. You're just a glob. You're like an alien, man. You're just in there, and you're
Right.
chilling out in there. But in there, that's you're part of your dad, you're part of your mom, and every part of your being, as far as the blood, the development of life itself, happens inside of that. And there's also a frequency. There's also communication, because the first thing is that you have to realize everything communicates. Always. The wind, the sea, life itself communicates. It's all about communication, because communication is vibrational. 57% of communication as a speaker is nonverbal. So you can feel each other. And you ever been around somebody and just know what they're going to, you ever play cards with a good friend and you know what they're going to do? It's a frequency, it's energy, it's ebb and flow. So
Right.
now, when you're there, you come from her, right? And she came, and your dad came from their parents, and they came from their parents. So you are part of everyone that's come before you, cheering you forward, pushing you forward to live better, more abundantly, but to drive and draw on all the things that they have established in their life, the lessons that they've learned, and some they may have learned at the last moment, but they got them. That's all a part of you. So if you look back, there's people cheering you on all the way. Now, if you look up, there's people who have left here that are rooting you on, that are still, the wind is still praying for you, man. It's still, you still got a shot. It's still the universe itself beckons and says, look, you're something special because you're part of me. When you breathe in oxygen, do you realize that that oxygen touches everything? And when you breathe it in, you become part of it. Everything becomes a part of you. When you eat chicken, you don't become the chicken. The chicken becomes a part of you, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right,
you breathe in, you're taking everything in. That's the great thing about the human experience. It's never a ceiling. It's always about trajectory. It's always trajectory. So now when you look around and look around who you spend your time with, a lot of your life is going to be defined by the relationships. And sometimes you're going to have relationships that you realize at one point in life were not the right relationships, but still necessary because you could not make the distinctions. But you look around, you have a support system. You have people that you're cheering on, that they're cheering on, that challenge you, people you have fun with, that make this thing worth living, and you learn that even when something doesn't work out, you get past it and you learn something. So you look back, you got them pushing you forward. When you look up, they're praying for you, they're rooting you on, they're cheering for you. When you look around, you got your posse, you got your team, you got your dad, you got me now. But
That's
then you
it.
look ahead. James, you're going to do some incredible things, and everyone that's listening, you and your children, don't count them out. There's more. There's more to do. And you're going to impact some lives. You're already doing it, and they'll never be the same because they met you. The power of the human connection, there's no greater power. And because of these things, you actually live forever based upon how you want to define that.
Wow. Man, listen, this is why I love you so much, sir. Is because, from the moment that we met, the communication we began, realize, man, that there's a continuance that is there. Things that you speak echo into my life, and I share those things and echo it into others. There's a continuation. It's a flow of energy, and that's an energy that never dies. For what is it for? As Dr. Carroll was talking about, how beyond physical matter. You
Mhm.
know, it
Yes.
is this. This is what we're talking about. Life is not just what you're going through in this moment. Sometimes I look down in our comments throughout every one of our videos, and there are people who are watching who you're discouraged, you're frustrated, you wish you had those supports in your life. Well, you can. It's about being connected with people. It's about setting up habits. If it's been a thing where you felt like you were abandoned and alone, I want you to know you're not isolated. That our community is here. Join it. That you can be a part of. You can watch things that encourage you instead of setting you back. Watch the videos here on Absolute. Click over to JD3 TV. Could you even tell them how to get a hold of JD3 TV? Is there an app? Do we download it? How do we watch the programming that is positive, that helps you grow? How do they do that?
Yeah. We ask you to start your journey by going to www.jd3tv.com. From there, you can download the app on Apple, Android, but we also have launched it on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Android TV, and even Roku. So 300 million people have the opportunity to see you. And that's where the journey really, really begins. jd3tv.com.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have it there now on the screen if you guys can see it. I want you to support things that are going to support you. Let me ask you something. James Jr., you have any other questions you want to ask Dr. Dunley?
Um, I would ask, if someone asks you how you made it, how would you respond?
Yeah. Yeah. Through the grace of God, perseverance, mentorship. You know, the power, James, of storytelling. A gentleman named Michael Kupis, he has a twin brother named Tony. He's 4 years younger than me, and he told me when he was 27 about his life, and he told me and 15 individuals that we would be extremely successful. But he said, before I would teach you how to be successful, I would teach you who you must become. Success is not a destination, it's a becoming. It's about, oh man, just being happy each and every day with gratitude in your skin. So I would say the mentorship, and if you don't have a mentor around you, you read books. You look at YouTube. You look at this screen, and you grab mentorship, and you grab that. You take this information, you put it in your crock pot, that has all different ingredients in it. And you just keep stirring it and keep working on getting better and better. But it begins by having a dream, a vision, and getting some clarity of what it is that you want. And I'm gonna say this, and I apologize for going on, but I was talking to a
No,
young
you're
lady.
not. You're fine, brother.
Well, I was talking to a young lady last night. She's very successful, and she wants to be even more successful and impactful. And I said to her, you have to calm down. In gratitude, you're going to find clarity, and in love, you're going to find clarity. I was with your dad in Utah, and a woman said, "How many people have ever decided not to like somebody?" And people raise their hand. Said, "Why can't you decide just to love them?" Because you can love people across the street. Because when you keep yourself calm, like a wrestler, like a boxer, like a tennis player, like a writer, like an actor, you get into a place. They call it a zone. I call it click, and you fall in harmony with everything, and everything flows. So it's the mentorship. It's the growing through things. It's not taking things personal and understanding that to manage emotions, separate how you feel from what you know to be true. Because feelings are really fleeting and scary. You ever felt like your heart was broke? But if your heart was broke, you kind of be dead.
That's it. Come on. Yeah.
You feel you can't get up, you can't breathe. Yes, you can, but you're in a story. So create a new story. And that's even when I train speakers, how to create a story like your dad's a master of it. Not just speaking to the listening, but speaking to the nervous system of another human being. That comes from a place. And when you do it, you're connected with the world, man. There's nothing but joy there.
This is why what's been such an honor is the fact that we get to see that you're not alone in this thing. Sometimes there's the moment where someone will feel like you're Jonah. You're called to go do something you then reluctantly to go do, and that you're the only one. We're like, God, there's only me out here. And I look around and I see that there are other people who carry the same mantle and mantra to serve, to impact lives, and that you are not alone. Some of you who are watching aspire to be speakers. Some of you aspire to have a voice to be heard. Feel like you've been quieted or put on mute. I want you to know that the mute button is only on yourself because you place it there. The moment you begin to chase after your destiny chases after you, and you realize, wait a minute, this is what I was born to do, and they've been waiting on me. You have to start speaking, but in speaking, you also have to learn how to speak. Dr. Denley, you've been coaching people for decades now, and as you've been working with people, some of the best speakers in the world are developed and been trained under you.
Yeah.
What are things that principles, things, and where can they begin on this journey? If they want to become better, they want to become more, how do you help them do so?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have several things. Power Stories is one of the ones we offer. InspiredToSpeak.com will give you a complete layout. But first of all, there's something that's beckoning, something that's yearning inside of you, something outside of you is beckoning you forward, something you have to say. It may have been an experience that you want to be an advocate that other people don't have to share that experience. It may be a gift that you feel like can empower people to make their lives better. It may be something you've come up with that can solve a problem or fill a need or accelerate or make something better, brighter, that impacts humanity in a positive way. So that it begins with you have that, or you maybe already be a speaker, but you want to touch more and your speeches are landing flat, or you may have some fear and anxiety. Well, first of all, if there is fear, that means you're thinking about you. I teach people one foundational principle that when you're on that stage, I am never the star. I am the director. The audience is the star. I have only one job to help somebody out there get an Oscar. Help them win at whatever it is that they want. Help them find their space. You as an actor, James, you get it, right? As a director,
Right.
I was able you to shine, man. I'll sit back and clap for you at the awards when you're doing it because we're part of each other's journey. Does that make sense? I teach them the F45, the first 45 seconds when they hit the stage, how do they own it? How do they put themselves in a state? And how do they understand the psychology of what it is you're doing? There's one thing to have a gift. It's another thing to be able to dissect and know personality types, to know how to use your voice like the soundtrack of a movie. A soundtrack makes it look, if there's a scene in a movie where, you have the I know what you did last summer, right? And there's a scene in the movie and he's behind the door with this big knife and there's some music that brings your body to tension. There's music that complements love, comedy, remorse, sadness. So what happens if if somebody's behind the door and they pull the door back, and instead of here, it says change the whole scene, right?
Right.
You
Right.
use your voice to touch an emotion. And all those things from embedded commands to understand how to open loops, how the brain works, and then to know to do that and put it together so seamlessly, but more importantly, to make the connection and be with, be present. And when you can do that, you're not speaking to people, you're speaking into them. And then you get them to speak back to you. And you take that energy and you play and you play. And you'll have greater impact. They remember the message, they remember the story, and you can anchor those points and set new triggers for them to be able to excel when those emotions that will stop them start to creep back up. You give them the ammunition to take it out and then teach them to share that with everyone.
Wow.
Share it.
I love, man, listen, I'm telling you, speaking of that, about you're talking about the analogy and using acting. This coming
Mhm.
week, you'll be able to see us in Franklin, Tennessee at the International Christian Film Festival. Neil McDonough is going into getting his Lifetime Achievement Award for being an actor. He's played all these roles. For such a Christian guy, he's one of the best villains ever. He's like, he plays the most evil everything, but he's really a wonderful guy. But I get the honor of being able to induct him in and present the award and also speak. But you'll be able to meet other actors, directors, they'll all be there. So join us September 7th. But we have some other great things that are happening. September 10th, you'll catch us there at the Avalon Theater at the Promise to Live. It's a suicide prevention. Make sure that you go on to promisetolive.org. You'll see that there's something phenomenal there if you want to be a part of that. But also, October the 19th, they got something coming up. What's happening October 19th, Baron?
October 19th, you are going to be featured in the
What?
Business Limitless Experience Summit. Oh, wow. We have been launching Limitless virtual and live events for the last, since 2017. But we're so honored to have you there because you're going to be the featured speaker that's going to close it out for everyone, entire bow around the entire experience. So it's going to be a virtual event. It's going to go from 9 a.m. to 5. We have some powerful features, but we're starring Mr. James Dixon himself. And that's going to take place. Now, I don't know if you have your link, but we have a choice here. We can either offer, tell you what, if they go to limitlesssummit.eventbrite.com, limitlesssummit.eventbrite.com.
We're putting it on, or typing it on there on the screen now. You'll see it below. I mean, if you would tell them who are some of the other speakers, because I know you're going to be there.
Oh, I'm going to be there. We're going to bring it down and talk about the psychology of communication.
So if you give the website one more time, tell them where to go.
Okay. It's limitlesssummit.eventbrite.com. And as a special gift, you type in all capital letters Summit Free. And if you do that between now and what's the date? The end of September, you'll get free admission to the event. Now
there it goes, guys.
If
of
they
you
choose to
saying
pay,
you wanna be
it
a
goes to
part of
charity.
something,
If they choose
you
to
couldn't
pay,
afford
100% of it goes to charity. We've got the early bird right now. It's very low. It's easy that anybody can afford it. But if you choose to pay, 100% of what we do goes to charity. We support 9 different charities every single year, and everything we're doing is going to charity.
You'll see it on the lower third of the bottom right now.
Yeah.
That's the
Summit Free, FREE.
Free, all right.
Yeah,
Summit Free, not Summit 3. All right, hold on. We're making
That's
it.
that Midwestern Chicago.
I'm telling you, I'm air typing it right now. Look at that. Look at that.
No, all caps.
Okay, wait a minute. I can adjust that right there. James, Junior, you didn't even know I could do something like that, man. That's
incredible.
Technology, man. That's
Right,
an advancement.
right.
It's amazing.
Superman
we went
is
from
real.
shorthand, James. Junior, do you know what shorthand is?
No.
You probably thought shorthands meant somebody has a little shorthand, but shorthand used to be the way we would take notes and stuff. It is now the abbreviation of words that come up. Like you would tap and say, if I say good morning to you in a text, you type back GM.
No,
Right.
That's shorthand. That's short for just 2 words. Dr.
One
Dennis,
more
go
thing.
ahead.
Eventbrite is BRITE.
Hold on. BR. I got. I got to do this right quick. This is amazing, man. That even the technology of let me uh, drag this over. I drop that down. There we go.
Woo!
Well, I'm telling you,
Incredible.
that is amazing. That's how it was. Yeah, thank you, James. Thank you. I used
You're
to
welcome.
trick my sons. I'd be walking into a grocery store, and I would
Mhm.
tell them, I'd say abracadabra, and the grocery door, their automatic doors would open. And I remember there was a stage where they believed that every time I'd approach a door, I could just simply abracadabra and it opened up. You know, so they started believing that they'd walk up to the door, abracadabra, and sometimes it wouldn't open because it was a manual door, right? And I was like, this is the one thing about it. That word, that phrase, that idea still works. Here's how it really works. Some things that you want, you have to speak into existence. You have to go ahead and begin to put them into the atmosphere so that you can manifest them. Some doors and some days, some things require you to put your hands on. What you can't sometimes do is afford things because your budget gets tight. What he's just made is it absolutely free so you can abracadabra a door open that opens up a door into your heart and your dreams. You want opportunities, if you truly want to walk in, you have to be a part of things. I'm not just one of the speakers there, man. If I'm a part of it, it's a whole team. That's what makes this powerful. Dr. Denley, who's all coming? Who's speaking on October 19th? When they use the code below,
Yeah.
who's all speaking that day?
Well, first of all, of course, you're going to close it out. We have Mr. Bill Walsh. Bill Walsh probably today is the number one small and medium-sized business coach in the world today. I've been knowing him for
Mm.
30 years, and man, I've watched him build a company from nothing, and now every week he's on private jets, but he teaches other people how to do it as well and how to expand and give back. We're also going to have Mike Bossini. Mike Bossini has some incredible technology called iDecide. And that technology is really, I've never seen anything like it for presentations. It's an interactive AI component. So he's going to be talking about the future of AI and how you can use that to grow your business. We're going to have a panel discussion with Mr. Percy Scott, who also, like Mr. Dixon, has a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Now, when you get one from the White House, doesn't matter who's in office. If you got it, you got it. But the bottom line is that he's going to be talking about just how to entrepreneurs should grow. He's the president of I-57 Chamber of Commerce here in Chicago, and then he also owns a marketing company called 360 Global. So he's going to talk about how to market yourself, but he's going to have a panel discussion with seasoned entrepreneurs about how do you get money and funding for your business. There's plenty of money out here if you want to fund a business, but most people don't know how, so they don't
Yeah.
apply. So how do you go about doing that? How do you get grants, things of that nature? The LA Tribune with Mo Rock, they're going to have a very special panel. Mo Rock is a dear friend of mine, and he's got seasoned entrepreneurs from the LA Tribune that will be there. Austin Walsh will be talking about list building, how to build your list. Jay Johnson will be talking about how to build out your signature talk. He works with Inspired to Speak and teaching people how do you create irresistible offers? How do you create those 6, 7 figure offers? And then how do you deliver those offers? So he'll be talking about that as well. And we've got somebody else. I can't remember who else is there, Jane. I guess that's it, Mr.
Jeff
Dixon.
Hoffman?
Leave it there. Oh, dude, stop it.
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody needs to just pop me over this. Thank you, sir. Jeff Hoffman is a co-founder of Priceline.com. He's been a dear friend of mine for many years. Actually encouraged me to start the TV network. But when you go to the airport and you go to get those kiosks to get your boarding pass, he created all that. He's going to talk about how he did it because he had never done anything like that before. How do you see something and everyone else sees one problem and somebody else sees a solution that will change the world? He built that first company, sold it for over $100 million, his first company. He's a great man. He's a very humble man. This gentleman, a very powerful man. And down to earth, you will get his message. He's going to teach you how to pull out your gold medal talent, how to identify what that is, and then how do you
That's
step
just,
into your purpose and find clarity and peace and impact the world. And people will pay you for that as well. So yeah,
man.
Jeff Hoffman.
This we're talking about James Jr. I want you to understand this: that when you find yourself in a room full of giants, you're not meant to be small. You're one of them as well. You just found your tribe. If you're there, you belong there. It's not by accident. You've been directed there. You were born to be great. That's why every one of you, I speak to you like I speak to my own son. Don't miss opportunities to grow. If it's being offered to you free, jump in, take advantage of it. Because there is no excuse for you to miss something that's absolutely free with access to people that you would have to pay in order to have everyone together.
Yeah.
You would have to pay to go to their masterminds. You would have to become hired by, you would have to hire them as your coach, and you would have to come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so when someone offers you something and people think free, sometimes we don't take advantage of it. But if you miss the moment, it's because you let it pass. And I'm telling you, you can surpass your issues, surpass the limitations if you get connected. So make sure you go ahead. It's very easy for you to do. Just type it in. If I can air type and change it, you can just type it right down, write it down, whatever you got to do. But whatever you do, do not miss that moment. I got to share something with you that just happened. I showed up and came to California for a dinner. I show up for this charity dinner. Jay Leno, all these things are taking place, and I walk in, man, and I'm sitting there watching people from TV shows like Criminal Minds, Ghostbusters, you name it. I'm looking around. I'm like, man, I can't believe, and I'm sitting there sneaking, taking pictures, and put it down real quick because I didn't want to be a fan, but I do want to be one. And I look up, and they're like, hey, they're doing the same thing. And I was like, wait a minute. Maybe they got me mixed up because I've had that happen before where someone was like, man, I love what you do, Jerry Rice. And I was like, who's Jerry Rice? Where's Jerry Rice? But they were like, listen, we watch your motivation. I love what you're doing. And you realize you fill a void in their lives just as they filled one in yours. And that there's mutual respect and honor that takes place. There isn't a room that you can enter into where you don't have a value or presence. It's like gumbo, man. You add that in there, and even though it's a mixture, you don't lose your consistency or your value to the mix. Because if the meat is missing out of gumbo, it ain't the same. It's just soup. You bring something to the table, but you can't bring that if you don't show up. All you have to do is go to Eventbrite. Use the code SUMMITFREE, F-R-E-E, all caps. And you're in. And if you come in, you'll win. James Jr., what have you learned in this process, this whole time you've been on? Give me some highlights from your perspective.
It's really good to help others while you're on your way up to your own success. And there's no clear-cut path. You should always realize that everything has frequency. Everyone goes at their own pulse. Everyone's their own person, but everything's connected at the same time. And it's really good to understand that and take that in as well.
Man, let me tell you something. The greatest privilege that I have is to have relationships with people like, man, you're a historical figure. God has chosen you at such a time and placed you in our lives. There are many people thank you long after, but I need to thank you while it's now. It's not just on stage, it's off stage, backstage. We've had those talks. One of the reasons why I've slowed up my schedule and set it up the way I have is because you spoke life into me about being available for the long haul. It's not just for the sprint. And so having an enduring legacy, an enduring message as you have and as you continue to build. You keep pouring into others, and I want to thank you for being that type of leader, for being that type of man. Many of us have people get something, and they fight to hold on to that because they don't want to lose it. Whereas you're like, listen, I like being the guy that everyone needs and don't know they needed them, and then I show up and I provide these things without needing attention, the spotlight or honor. You celebrate everyone else's wins, but today the win was for me because what you gave was knowledge, information, connection, even to my son. My bloodline has changed because of this interaction. Things that will be in his mind when he retells about all the giants that he grew up around. People will stop and be like, I'm trying to give him that Napoleon Hill experience, that he gets to interview all these great minds, from Jeff Hoffman to you, to Lee Brower, to you name it. He has access to all these kings. And so that he can walk in a mindset of royalty and not poverty. Thank you for being that for me.
So honored. So honored. You know, If I can just give you this, there's a story of three blind men that going into they're extremely wise, and they were the wisest in the world, and they were trying to decide upon their retirement what to do with this thing called greatness, because they felt that if the human race got a hold of it, we would destroy ourselves. The first wise man says, well, why don't we put it at the top of the highest peak of the mountains we can find? The other wise man said, no, you don't understand. They'll find a way to fly, and they'll get it. The other wise man said, why don't we stick it in the deepest part of the ocean? We don't even know what's down there. The other wise man said, no, you don't understand. They'll find a way to light up even the depths of the sea. The third wise man said, I got it. Why don't we just put it inside of them? They'll never find it there. The great thing about the work that you do, James, is that, you know, when you're working with people who, and especially if it's a loss of limb, first of all, we take so much for granted that any of us can become and find ourselves in that situation at any moment, driving down the street to the grocery store. You know, it can always be there. But when you have that emotion where something, a part of you is lost, but then other things take over, in the midst of that, in the middle of that road, before they cross from one street to another, you fill in the gap and bring hope and a light and understanding that there is more. There's still more life for you. There's still more purpose for you, that every life matters, to teach them how to love themselves and be okay with even when it's not okay. How to that weeping may last for a night, but joy to come in the morning. To be able to understand that when you speak life, the Bible says, thou shalt decree a thing, it should be then be established unto you, and it will accomplish that to where it has been sent. That those words do have power because it comes from every cell in your being. To bring life and to bring hope to individuals is really what it's all about, because hope never disappoints. It never ever will. And when the people get through to a new understanding and break through the darkness into that light, and they stay in that light, but never forget the darkness, because even a tree has to grow down before it grows up.
Oh,
Every seed has to be rooted downward. That means there's power and energy and a force of growth, even if you feel like you're all alone and you're down there in the mud. There's always life, because that's the foundation that would hold up the beautiful tree, the flower, the human being that will sprout forth. So the darkness is important because there's forces each way, and all those forces are meant for the good. You know, so I want to thank you for being a shining example. Every time I see you out doing what you do, I'm so proud. And I just back up, leave you alone, because I know what it is when you're doing the type of work, when you give your life. There's an old song, an old church song that says, if I can help somebody along the way, then my living shall not be in vain. So thank you, brother, for being a shining light for me to encourage me to keep going, to keep moving, to keep going. I love you, man, and love James
you, sir.
as well, sir. And this is
Listen,
great
I'm
things. We
about
look
to-
forward to you living your dream and sharing your gift with the world.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Man, we close. Listen, we've had the joy of being with all of you, 1.5 million subscribers. We started a new habit. I wanted everybody to know exactly what we are and what we're doing. We're bringing you together as a family. I want to share it so that it goes motivation that moves you, not just stuff you listen to, but it's something you can go do. Because if you don't put it into action, then it's wasted. And I want to tell you that you are not a waste. Take advantage of what we're offering you. Free Summit, free. That's all you have to do. It's on the Eventbrite. Dr. Denley offered you that. That's October 19th. That's plenty of time for you to plan it, put it in your calendar. But I'm going to say this to you. I know that you can be great. I know that you were born for greatness. I know you tune in, you say, man, I listen to this during my workout and all these things, and I'm telling you, the only reason why we go live is so that we can help you live. I need you to be great because you were born to be great. I need you to lift your head when you're down. I need you to believe that greatness is in you, and it has to come out because the rest of us need it. This has been absolute motivation. Until Wednesday. Love you, bless you, see you all later.
Made me an entrepreneur. Teaching me day after day after day till it all was a blur. Now he on tour, he could drop in your city tonight. Never the Zen coming in for the fight. Making that powerful statement, saying that you meant for greatness.